What's up guys, it's James here, and in today's video I'm going to talk to you about a recent investment I made into a short-term rental that we're projecting is going to be bringing in conservatively about a 258% ROI in year number 1. Now I'm going to break that all down for you in detail, and I know this number sounds pretty unbelievable, but I'm actually going to show you how we were able to do that by using a combination of different real estate investing strategies and short-term rental profiting strategies to make that happen and have such a great return on investment. Now, if any of you guys are interested, I am going to be working with a very small group of people in the coming months, very selective group of people who are serious about getting started investing their capital into short-term rental properties that they can use to get a really great return on their investment, and they can also use to enjoy themselves as a vacation home. So if that's something that you're interested in, again, it's not going to be a good fit for everyone. Only for the people who are really serious about investing into property for short-term rental and getting started with real estate investing. Then just let me know in the comment section down below. If you have got this video from an email from me, then respond to that email and let me know. Or you can go to the About section on my channel here on YouTube, and you can get in touch with me that way. So whatever it is, if you want to get in touch with us and you want to be one of those few people that we're going to work with, it is going to be a very small intimate group of people that I'm going to be working with. So if you think that that would be right for you, then just reach out and let me know. Otherwise, for any of you guys who are interested, we do have free trainings linked down below that are going to help you to build a business managing other people's properties on Airbnb as well. So I welcome you and invite you to check those out as well. Now let's start off by talking about this property. So if you've checked out any of my other recent videos, I talk about it a little bit, where I bought a property in cottage country north of Toronto. Now I managed to get this property for a great deal at about $100,000 below asking price. And this is in a market where most properties out that way are going for about $70,000 to $100,000 over asking price. And that was a combination of some great negotiating tactics and skills that we deployed, and then also just finding the right deal. That's a really important piece. It's just about finding the right property that is going to be a good sort of arbitrage opportunity where it, for whatever reason, might not be as desirable to other people buying vacation homes, or in this case, cottages, but is very desirable for a short-term rental. Now, for me personally, the reason that this property was so attractive and that it fit that mold was because it needed quite a bit of renovation work to be done. Now, a lot of people buying cottages want something that is move-in ready. It's a vacation home for them, and they don't really want to be spending time renovating that property. So this property, having a need for some renovations, was actually not super desirable to the rest of the buyers in the market. But for me, it was great because it means that in a year from now, I can do a cash out refinance and pull out almost all of the money, if not all of the money that I have invested into the deal for the down payment and the closing costs and what have you. So it's a really great deal from that respect. And then let's also talk about how I'm going to be able to pull off these numbers of a 258% return on investment in year 1. Now, bear in mind that is also our most conservative projection of how the property will perform. So I'm basing that off of other properties and how they performed in 2019 for about 4 and 5 bedroom properties. Now in 2020, the numbers were substantially inflated, and they likely will be in 2021 as well. So it's likely that those numbers are going to be drastically outperformed in reality. Our property is also a 6-bedroom property, so it's quite likely it'll do better than the 4 and 5 bedroom properties that I was comparing our numbers to. So again, I have a whole separate video where I talk about why it's important to be conservative with your projections and how to properly run projections for a short-term rental, whether that's one that you're buying, renting, or managing on a percentage management fee model. So the one aspect of that return is, of course, the cash on cash return. Now we have pretty minimal amount of money in the deal because I was actually able to get a really low interest rate loan for a lot of the renovation expense. And we were also able to get a pretty small down payment on the property. So I don't have a ton of my own money tied up in the property. Now that's a really great way to do any of your deals if you can manage to structure them that way. And again, that's something that we're going to be talking about with this very small intimate group coaching that I'm going to be doing with some people who are going to be interested in investing in properties for short-term rental. So again, there's a whole bunch of strategy behind exactly how to do that and how to structure your deals properly so that they make a great ROI. But the first part is just making sure that we have a pretty minimal amount of money in the property. And then there's the cash on cash return that we're going to earn on that, which of course is generated from the income less all the expenses. So we're projecting anywhere from $50,000 to $70,000 per year in gross annual income for the property from having it on short-term rental. Now, a big component of that is obviously that I know all the strategies to make the property perform exceptionally well. So our worst case scenario projection is $50,000 per year, and it could go all the way up to $70,000 or potentially even beyond that. But for year one, again, we want to stay relatively conservative with our projections. That's a whole other aspect of having a successful vacation rental, is just knowing how to optimize its performance, because it can make a very sizable difference on the amount of money that you bring in and therefore the return on investment that you earn. Now, the second way that we're earning a return on our money through investing in this property is our equity ROI. So your cash on cash return is just the net amount of money that you're making every single year after you pay for all your expenses, such as the operating expenses, your holding costs like your mortgage, your insurance, all those sorts of things. Now, the equity appreciation is the equity ROI, I should say, is the amount of equity that you're building up in the property, because obviously each month you're paying that mortgage, and a portion of the mortgage is going towards interest, but a portion of the mortgage payment is also going towards the principal pay down. That means that you're building up equity. So in our case, there's over $15,000 in equity that we're building up every single year, and we're getting more equity in the property. So that adds substantially to the overall ROI. It's important to realize though that ROI, that return specifically, is still tied up in the property. So that's not an ROI that we actually get out in cash the way we do with the cash on cash ROI. The cash on cash ROI is actually money that we have left over that's in a bank account in completely liquid form, whereas the equity gain, the equity ROI, is still tied up in the value of the property. The third way that we're earning a return on our investment is through appreciation ROI. Now again, that's another type of return that's going to be tied up in the value of the property. So we're not actually going to realize the gains on that until it's time to actually sell the property. And there's a couple of really cool ways to make sure that you don't get hit with a big tax burden when you realize that gain as well. So again, that's another part of the strategy that I'm going to be talking about with the intimate select group of people I'm going to be working with. But this appreciation gain is about 2% per year averaged out. Now, what's really cool about that is that although you're looking at it and you think, well, 2% out of 258%, really not a substantial number. But it's important to remember that that 2% appreciation is on the total value of the property. So let's say you buy a property for $500,000, that 2% gain is on the $500,000. Though you likely wouldn't have bought the property for cash, you'd probably have a mortgage on the property. So let's say you only have maybe $50,000 or $100,000 in that property. Well, you're going to be getting 2% on $500,000, even though you only have $50,000 or $100,000 into the deal. So your actual gain on your invested capital is quite a bit more substantial than just that 2%. Now, when you add all those numbers together, based on the projections that we've run for the most conservative scenario, they add up to about 258% ROI. That's in year one. So it's important to remember as well that because we are doing a renovation that's going to give us a substantial return on investment by increasing the value of the property, that is going to boost up that ROI in year one specifically, at which point we're going to do a cash out refinance, and we're going to be able to have about a 70 to 80% ROI every year after that. Now again, this number could improve quite substantially if we are able to outperform our most conservative projections, which there's a very good chance we will be able to do. And that 258% ROI is something that we are only going to be earning for the first year. Though that being said, the return on investment in year two at about 70 to 80% is still exceptionally strong. So all that being said, it's a really, really great strategy to start investing in short-term rentals if you're looking to build your wealth long-term. It's also something that you can do with relatively minimal money up front. There's creative ways to structure your deal and ways that you can partner with people so that you actually don't have to have a tremendous amount of money in order to actually get started. Now, that being said, it is easier if you do have some money set aside that you're looking to invest. Now, if you think about it, the average investment return, if you look at the average rate of return that you're getting on investment when you invest into the market, averaged over a long period of time, is about 8%. So if you're able to earn 258% in year one, that's obviously incredible. Now, that being said, it is a lot more active to be buying properties for short-term rental than it is to just be dumping your money into a stock. So it's all about the individual investor, what you're looking for in your investment. Personally, I don't mind putting a little bit of extra time and energy into my investments if I know that they're going to yield me a much more substantial return. So again, I don't get the luxury of just being able to put money into a stock and set it and forget it. There is more involved. Like, for example, just having to learn how to buy properties and having to do different things as far as actually managing the property. There's lots of different solutions. You can partner with people in order to minimize the amount of effort you're putting it in. So if you have more money and you want to just go ahead and hire or partner with people in order to reduce the amount of time you're going to be putting in, obviously the return will be reduced, but with 258% return, there's a lot of margin there to be handing other things off and still be getting a substantial return with a minimal amount of time. Again, all that just depends on your individual perspective and goals as an investor, what you're looking to get out of the property, whether you prefer to be more hands-on and increase your ROI, or whether you'd prefer to take a slightly decreased return on your investment, but take a much more passive role. At the end of the day, it's never going to be quite as passive as if you're just dumping your money into stocks, but it can be relatively passive or more active if you'd like it to be. So again, I hope that's been really interesting for you and helpful for you to envision what the return possibilities really are in short-term rental. Now, again, if you want to learn more about this and you want to get a more in-depth breakdown of how all this works, and you think that working together with me hand in hand to invest in a property for short-term rental might be a good fit, then I'd highly recommend you just let me know in the comment section down below and we can get in touch. Or you can reach out to me on social media, Instagram, Facebook, or you can reach out to me by email. You can either just email me back if you already have my email, or you can go to the About section on our YouTube channel here and find my email there and reach out to me that way. Again, it's going to be a very, very small, intimate group of people I'm going to be working with. It's not going to be a great fit for everyone, but I am going to be working with just a handful of people to help them get started investing in properties for short-term rental. So if that sounds like something that's up your alley, something you'd be interested in, then please be sure to reach out. Now, with all that being said, I know a lot of you here on the channel are not in a position where you're looking to actually buy properties for short-term rental, and you'd rather earn an income managing properties on Airbnb and short-term rental without having to put money into a down payment, into renovation costs, into furnishing, or even into renting any properties. So if you want to get started managing other people's properties on Airbnb and short-term rental and get started without investing any of your own money at all into getting the business off the ground and getting your first couple of properties, then I highly recommend you check out the free training that's linked in the description down below. I'm going to walk you through how I got started and how I was actually able to build a 6-figure income in under 12 months from managing other people's properties on Airbnb. That's exactly how I built myself up to the position I'm in today, where I actually am able to invest into buying properties for myself for short-term rental. So if you want to get started that way, and that's something you're interested in to get your feet wet, get yourself started in the game without investing heavily into actually buying properties or renting them or anything else like that, I highly recommend checking out that free training. It's linked in the description down below. It is completely free. You don't have to have any experience whatsoever or any kind of technical background or skills in order to get started and succeed with it. I've worked with over 500 students now teaching them how to do this, so I guarantee that you can do this as well if you have the right training, the right tools, and the right amount of work ethic that you're going to put into it. So again, I highly recommend checking that out in the description down below. If you have any thoughts, any questions, any concerns, anything you'd like me to talk about in upcoming videos, just let me know in the comment section down below. If you liked this video and got value from it, just please take a quick second to hit that like button and let me know. It does help me out tremendously with YouTube's algorithm. So if you could just take a quick minute and click that like button, I would appreciate it very, very much. And lastly, I know from looking at YouTube statistics that most of you guys who are watching this video are not yet subscribed to the channel. So what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button. Press the subscribe button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can stay up to date with all the new content we post. We're posting 2 new videos every single week. So be sure to press that subscribe button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can stay up to date with all the content we release. And I will see you in the next video.